Are annuities the best strategy to fund one's retirement? And when I'm saying annuities, I mean income annuities. That's what my man here who writes this article is saying, the same thing. Not variable annuities, not fixed annuities. We're talking about income annuities, SPIAs, immediate annuities. So we're going to dive into this, an article that I came out yesterday from Michael Edessess over at Advisor Perspectives. And I'm a huge fan of Michael's for sure. He's a professor over in Hong Kong, I believe. And he's written, I've been following him for years and years and years. Don't always agree with him, but I love the fact that Edessess is curmudgeon to some degree. He'll take on the investment industry and their voodoo math that a lot of times they use, which I like. I'm a huge fan of that, and he leaves no hold bar. He pulls no punches. Not everything I agree with, but by and large, say 80% of the time, I'm a huge fan of his. All right, so let's start with the conclusion. Because we'll go up into how he proposes this. If I can find the conclusion right. Where'd the conclusion go? Hold on just a sec. Oh, that's all the assumptions. Okay, cool. All right, so here comes the conclusion. Even at no more than 90% assurance that the money won't run out over an investor's lifetime, and empathetically for any level of certainty above that, an annuity is preferable to a safe withdrawal strategy. The Annuities Advantage, and this is, it all comes down to this, is that it leaves no money for bequests when you die, while a safe withdrawal strategy usually leaves a large amount. That's the difference. An annuity, an income annuity, you are literally using every single dollar that you have when you put that into an income annuity. There will be no residual value unless you die before your period certain. Maybe I'll just do another video on that, just how there's a period certain. I think I did one just, that's how it works. So if you have a joint in life survivor annuity with a 20-year period certain, and you or your spouse lives beyond 20 years, there's nothing left. It's gone, okay? Whereas a safe withdrawal rate, you're trying to make it so you have a legacy left, not because you want to leave a legacy necessarily, because you don't know when you're going to die. And because that, you want to make sure when you take your last breath, there's at least a little bit of money because you weren't sure if that was the day you took your last breath or not. All right, this is assuming historical rates of return are adjusted downward slightly because of projected lower future than historical returns. If one believes that future returns may be even lower, as Jeremy Grantham does, and look, I agree with that. Jeremy Grantham just irks me, and Edessess in some regard irks me when it comes to their allegiance to the climate change doomsday scenarios. It drives me crazy, actually. Then a safe withdrawal rate may not be safe at all, and an annuity is a clear safe haven. I agree with that 100%. Safe withdrawal rates assume something from the past can be extrapolated into the future. And look, we can make that assumption all day long, but you can't, to get some kind of gauge of retirement, things like that. But at the end of the day, we don't know that's going to happen. We don't. But we do know the annuity will be there unless the insurance company goes kaput. Thus, uncertainty about the expected returns on stocks and bonds add to the uncertainty about the safe withdrawal strategy. If an investor does desire to leave a legacy, this study points to the possibility that the investor should split their investment between a portfolio intended to provide the maximum income for the investor's lifetime and a portion to provide a legacy, and invest the lifetime portion in an annuity. Moreover, the annuity payment amounts, of course, are inflexible, suggesting that to provide for fluctuating expenditures, a portion of the asset should be held outside an annuity. I agree with that 100%. Could not agree more. I used to do that when I worked at USAA. Let me show you what I'm talking about. We split it apart because what if we're wrong? What if you go with this one side and you're wrong? So we just have two. We have annuity and you have stocks. Just as simple. Two buckets, all right? And, this is the way to do it. I've always thought that's the way to do it. And the annuity for income, and obviously we'd have some cash as well, but the annuity would be your income stream, your stocks would be your legacy or your growth to deal with the rising inflation and whatnot. I've always thought that's the way to go. And it is, really. It's just a lot of people are fearful of annuities because what if I die earlier? And that's, I get that, but not likely to happen. But if it were to happen, then you still have stocks to leave as legacy. Now, if I may, the easiest way to leave a legacy is just to buy a life insurance policy. This is what it irks me to no degree. I'm sorry, but if you're 50 or 60, you can still buy a life insurance policy. It might not be cheap, but man, talk about a way to leave a legacy that's even better than leaving a legacy in your IRA, because the life insurance transfers to your heirs tax-free. So essentially what you can do, you can drop in $50,000, $100,000 and get a significant $500,000 life insurance policy. And you have no more premium. Just drop it in, done, and you're done. As long as it's a guaranteed universal life, or you probably don't want to do a whole life because that's going to be expensive, but a guaranteed UL, GUL, was almost like a term in terms of premiums, and it's going to be more expensive than that, but you're not building any cash value. And you don't want cash value. You want to make sure there is a legacy at your death, which means cash value is completely irrelevant. You don't care about cash value. You just want enough cash value to help with the premiums as you age and get closer and closer to death. It's confusing. I'll do another video at some point on GULs. So that's the way to do it when it comes to leaving a legacy. Is you have a guaranteed universal life, which is minimal cash value to the benefit, the death benefit you have. Now, when I was at USAA, we do universal lives, but they try to maximize cash value, and that's not what you want when it comes to leaving a legacy. You don't want maximized cash value. You want the minimal cash value that you can get to keep the policy in force. And that's the nice thing about the G when it comes to G, Guaranteed Universal Life. They're going to guarantee that policy stays in force, regardless of whatever else is going on in the economic environment. They're going to guarantee it, but because that guarantee is there, you're not going to get much cash value. And that's the whole point. The point is now I have my legacy taken care of, and now I can focus the rest on myself. And a lot of people don't do that. I wish they would, because I think again, life insurance is bad, evil, evil. You're throwing away your money, says Dave Ramsey and the guys, but it's too bad. All right, so let's go into Edessess' study here. Suppose you're retired or soon to be retired and you have no reason to leave a bequest. All right, so that tells me no reason to leave a bequest, and immediately you should say annuities without question. You have no offspring and they're financially independent, or you want them to be, and you have no charities for which to leave you money. You just want to assure yourself as much income as possible while you are alive. What is the best course? My research is that it's almost impossible to beat an annuity. Without question, if you have no bequest goal, you can't beat the income annuity. You just can't. In a 2012 article that Joe Tomlinson wrote, he showed that annuities have been an extremely safe investment and that there's no reason to believe they will not be in the future. Let us therefore tentatively say that annuities have a 99% chance of delivering their promised income, the only risk being the failure of the insurance company and the lack of adequate government funds to pay the annuitants, which is the person receiving the benefit. In this article, I explore comparably safe withdrawal strategies from a stock bond portfolio in order to compare the lifetime income they provide with a lifetime income from an annuity purchased with the same initial investment. And he uses immediateannuities.com and the thing up in Canada is called Canex, which you can go to get a gauge of what the payout rates are. And so what we have here is we have a male 65 years old getting about 6.72, we'll just say 6.75 for an immediate annuity. That just means as long as he's alive, he's getting paid. 6.72 is the payout rate, not the interest rate, it's the payout rate. So for every $100,000 he put in, he'll get $6,720 a month, which is about roughly a little bit more than $500 a month. If it's a male 65 inflation adjusted, he gets significantly less than that, about 33% less than that, at 4.74 as a payout, which is why I don't like those inflation adjusted ones, because they're just so minimal on the front end that it's going to take a lot of years for you to make it up on the back end. And on the back end is usually when you're not spending nearly what you were on the front end. Female 65 gets 6 point. You can see all that. Now this one, a joint 100% life continuation is 5.74. All right, so that's pretty good. That's better than what I was anticipating at 65, which is 5.5%. I would have thought roughly 5.5%. That's typically what my default is. But what Michael is saying here, a joint life survivor annuity, I'm not sure if it's a 20-year payout or not, but it's 5.74%, which means for every $100,000, you're going to get $5,740 a year in income, guaranteed, without risk. Now, it's not adjusted for inflation. All right, many strategies have been proposed as safe withdrawal strategies, and many more are possible. Exploring every conceivable strategy to see which one maximizes lifetime income while maintaining a 99% chance is one I will not, a task I won't attempt. But he does use a Bill Bengen article from the Journal for Financial Planning in October 1994 about the 4% rule. And he says, for example, suppose that the initial investment is $1 million and the withdrawal percentage is 4%, so that the first year's withdrawal is $40,000. Now suppose that inflation in the subsequent year is 5%. Then withdrawal in year 2 would be 5% greater than the initial withdrawal of $40,000, which would make it $42,000. Bengen concluded that testing the strategy against historical returns and asserting that an initial withdrawal rate of 4% would be safe. More recent articles by Fink, Fowl, and Blanchett, FPB, argue that a 4% withdrawal rate is too high, considered or certainly not considered safe in this low interest rate environment. I agree with that. All right, so I want to pause there for just a second because all these stuff is right. I mean, I 100% agree with Bill Bengen. The 4% rule worked back in the 1994 when it came out. FPB, Fink, FP, Fowl, and Blanchett, I agree with that 100%. They're saying it's a 3.2% safe withdrawal rate given that the low interest rates. But here's the problem. I mean, no one does this. That's the whole point about the safe withdrawal rate rule. No one sits there and says, I took $40,000 out this year. I'm going to take adjusted for inflation the next year. Oh, inflation. Let's look at the CPI. The CPI was 2.6. So give me $40,000 plus 2.6% a year, and I'll take that. No one does that. It sounds great in theory, but no one, I mean, I'm sure there's some guy out there who does it, says, okay, I took out $40,000 on 1st January 1995. The next January, the inflation was up 2.6%, so I'm taking $40,000 plus the 2.6% inflation on 1st of January 1996. It doesn't work like that. No one does that. I mean, what's the inflation rate? CPI, average wage index. It doesn't work like that. That's another thing that actually drives me crazy. And secondly, is that not only does it not work like that in reality, but inflation, while it goes up, spending actually goes down. That's the whole point about the safe withdrawal rate. That's misses the boat, man, is because you're saying your income is going to go up, your income needs are going to go up like this each and every year, and we just have no evidence of that whatsoever. We just don't have any. All right. Now he's got another strategy. He finds another withdrawal strategy. He calls this high withdrawal strategy. Increases lifetime income compared to the Bengen strategy while still adhering to the safety requirement. And he talks about his strategy here, and I'm not going to get into. So then he tested 2 strategies against annuities using 2 simulation models by simulating random sequences of annual stock bond portfolios returns with a standard Monte Carlo generating process, and by sampling random past stock bond returns. All right, and you can read all this if you want. Therefore, the methods were similar enough not to report both. Okay. Therefore, I will report the results with Monte Carlo simulation. Coincident inflation rate sequences were also generated. Random ages at death were generated using actuarial tables provided by Joe Thomason. And they assumed that the annuitant investors were all age 65. All right, so let's see results. All right, so annual average incomes with 99% safe withdrawal rates. 99%, because that's what we're assuming the annuity has, a 99% safe withdrawal rates. And again, this, oh, you like my Patriots Path to Patriot hat? My hair is a mess, so I just figured I'd wear a hat. All right, so a safe withdrawal rate for joint husband and wife is 2.33. On $1 million, that means they could take out $34,000 a year on average. So it'd be starting at $23,000 a year the first, or adjusted each and every year with inflation. That means only one time out of 100, I guess, so they run out of money. With Michael's high withdrawal strategy, the safe withdrawal rate was 2.3, I guess, with a minimum average annual of $56,000. And then, of course, with the annuity, is much higher at $57,000 for sure. So, I mean, that's without question. So Michael uses a safe withdrawal rate where it's 99% success, and that just means you leave some money to your heirs, a bequest. All right, let's see. Let's keep going on. There's another one. Now he says, well, if you only want 95% safe withdrawal rate, and again, with the annuity, it's a 99%, so we're taking more risk with the portfolio. In this case, the average annual on the 4% rule was $45,000 of income, and Michael's is $64,000 of income, but again, had more risk to not surviving the entirety of your life, and so there's a significant more risk than the annuity. That's an initial withdrawal strategy of 3.37, a minimum of 3.1, and an average annual income for a joint 64,000. So that sounds good, but if we go at 10% with failure rate and a 90% safe rate, Michael's got 67,000 you could take out from his high withdrawal strategy. The annuity would give you still, again, 57,000. Again, this is assuming joint and life survivor. And then the 4% rule would give you 51,000. All right, so what about inflation indexed annuities? Yeah, and that's going to make it tougher. I'm not a fan of inflation indexed annuities, like I already said. So the issue is here, if you want to take more risk, you can certainly do so by using like something like Michael does, his high withdrawal strategy, which I'm not going to get into here. I'll put the link to the show notes on this, simply because I don't believe there's any safe withdrawal rate. I don't. I think just the whole thing is, I don't want to say silly, because it's not silly. It's good to chomp on. But I think at the end of the day, it really needs to come down to your spending. I mean, you start with your spending needs and how do we fund the spending needs for the coming year, and then do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again. That's what you got to do each and every year. So to start off with a strategy of 30 years or so and say we're going to stick to that, no one does that. No one does that. And on top of it, certainly no one does it relative to the rate of inflation, which I guess we're using CPI. So what you should do is you should say, I need this amount of money this year. All right, how am I going to get that? I'm going to take it from my portfolio, or I'm going to do an annuity. All right, then fast forward the following year. I need this amount of money this year. How are you going to do that? And the same thing should be applicable for sure, relative to your spending needs, not relative to anything else, because your spending needs, i.e. your consumption, is what matters. All right, hope this helps. I'll put a link to the show notes. And as always, you like what you see, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.